Welcome to On the Chain. You guessed it, XRP. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, Chip? I'll tell you what, the future of digital currency could very well be XRP despite Gary Gensler and despite the SEC. What do you think about that? You ready to kick this thing off?
I say we do it. Let's go. Ready?
Yeah, let's start from there.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Yeah, that
big
happens
shout out
sometimes.
to Espresso.
Big shout out to Espresso and big shout out to everybody in the chat too. Sorry guys, sometimes we get chatting and we forget there's a show to go. But I want to say hi to Dan here in Nottingham. It says respect from Nottingham, UK. Feels like things are finally moving with the case. And also too, I want to say that I've actually been to Nottingham. I believe it has. Is that where the old trip to Jerusalem is? The oldest pub in the UK. It's partly carved into like a part of it's like an old brick structure, but then you go underground. It's like part of it like a cave. It's incredible. You'll tell Dan. We'll let me know in the comments right there.
That's where the next OTC meetup will be.
I think we should have a meetup there, but I think it's is it in Nottingham? I'm pretty sure it is. Maybe I'm wrong.
Either way, we're going there.
Who knows where it is really? But anyway, that's where it is. I don't care. We're going there anyway. So there it is right there. Right. I think here I just googled this
California in the house, Chip.
California, and it's early there, man.
5:10 a.m.
And it's well known throughout the world. It says right there. So there's a 1189.
If it says it, Chip, it must be true.
And you can see all this like rock back here because that part of it goes into there. It's pretty cool. The oldest inn in New England, the oldest pub. Really cool place, man. Loved it. Had a bunch of pints there.
Doug wants to know where the coffee is. He's loving your hair. Here's the coffee right here. Some good
dark roast. Doing weird things, mannequin things today because I didn't put any product in it, Jeff. That's how it happens sometimes. But we got a lot to unpack here. And the first thing, mannequin hair. That's what I have right now. It's like all wiry and crazy, like it's a nuts. Anyway, let's get jumping into this. So we have we had John Deaton with Charles Payne, and he's been all over. I just love the coverage that this is getting, and people are starting to wake up. That's right, the oldest pub in the UK. Yeah, that's right. And I have a mate in Derby, so that's how I know, the neighboring city over there. So that's how I knew about it. And he took me over. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna love this pub." Damn right it was.
Jim D is saying, "How come no chat stream on the screen?" Don't know.
We never do that.
Where?
We never put a chat stream on our screen.
Oh, you mean so everyone can see the chat in ours?
Yeah, no, we don't do that. That's
I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe Jim D's not seen the chat stream on his screen.
It could be that you don't see it on. Yeah, maybe you don't see it on yours. You probably got to reconfigure it somewhere along the line there. But let's jump into this. Right. So I want to, guys, everyone drop in like you always do. Drop in. We got BZ in here as well. Good morning, Lemonheads. I like that, Lemonheads. Great band, by the way.
The Lemonheads. Man, I haven't heard that in a long time.
That's a great band. Yeah. What is this right here? Nottingham. We need another Robin Hood. Yeah, that's where Sherwood Forest. Yeah, bring down Sheriff Gensler. That's a good one. Yeah, Nottingham has Sherwood Forest there. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. Let's jump into it, guys. Drop where you're from, and if you guys want more XRP, Ripple project, ecosystem related content like this, just go ahead and subscribe. That way you can get more of this type of content. Good morning from Luxembourg. What's up, Bernard?
Man, we're bringing in the world. We got Mike coming in from Cuba.
Wisconsin's in here.
Cuba,
Oklahoma.
Look at that. Wisconsin, Oklahoma. Man, people are filtering in from
Look at that Lemonhead song right there. There it is. Lemonhead's tune. This guy knows the Lemonheads. We got Rough Rican in here as well. He's an OOG. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. Not working today. Good to hear that, Rican. Good to hear that.
Jim D, Richard, Moncrief, and Legendary.
Got our Aussies in here as well. What's up, Tina? How are you? Good to see you.
OTC.
Toronto.
Man.
I like how as I grew up right across the lake from Toronto. It was like Toronto, like a TE, Toronto. But they go Toronto. It's like that's how the Ripple. We have a new place in Toronto, and so that's what we're.
How about XRP? How's crypto doing up in Toronto, up in Canada? That's what I would like to know. Any issues going on in Canada with that prime minister they have up there?
Yeah, we'd like to know if there's
disruptive. Seems like it was really disruptive, right?
There seems like there's some stuff going on up there, man. I mean, I just can't be it's all kinds of crazy stuff there, Jeff.
Yes.
You know.
Sorts of crazy stuff.
Crazy, interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and put this Deaton. I'm gonna put this Deaton on Charles Payne. Let's get to it, everybody. Here we go. Let's listen in here again, man. I just love the profile that this is getting. And John Deaton, what a warrior, man. What a warrior.
Founder John Deaton. John, I got to start with the news. Apparently, an ex-Coinbase product manager has been charged with what they're saying is the first of its kind crypto insider trading case. What's this all about?
Well, you called it right, Charles. Thank you for having me on. The former product manager of Coinbase basically was on what's called the asset listing team. And that's basically, they get to pick which crypto assets are going to be listed on Coinbase. Now, most importantly, he had information of when the public announcement of that listing would be made. And there's this phenomenon, Charles, called the Coinbase pump. Basically, as you can imagine, when a new coin gets listed on the largest exchange in the United States, there's a pump. And he was providing this information and tipping his brother and his friend as to when these announcements were going to be made, and they engaged in that trading.
Any chance he could use the Nancy Pelosi defense?
Well, when Congress exempts themselves from insider trading, I mean, that's a pretty powerful exemption.
Yeah. Hey, I want to stick with this Wild West theme because Congressman Tom Emmer said this week that the SEC is still actively pursuing cryptocurrency entities, and doing so, they're going beyond their authority, right? He says that Gary Gensler and the director of enforcement sent a sweep letter or sweep letters to jam them into a violation that is presumably prohibited. I mean, what is the deal with the SEC in this urge to just dominate this space?
Well, I got to tell you, I believe Congressman Emmer is on to something. He wouldn't have just made that up. When you couple what he was saying with the fact that Gary Gensler has doubled the enforcement division for crypto-related assets, it makes sense. But what they're doing, apparently, Charles, is they send these voluntary industry sweep letters, which is voluntary, to ask for information. And what Congressman Emmer brought out was that the SEC engages in what's called extra-jurisdictional requests. They don't have any business sending voluntary requests to these companies, and they're voluntary. If I'm on the attorney for one of these companies, I say don't cooperate because they don't have jurisdiction, and they're not supposed to hold it against you, but they do. Yeah. And the director of enforcement said something dangerous. He said, quote, "We are not limited to our jurisdiction when it comes to subpoenas."
They're not limited, right? So it's like we're all powerful, Jeff.
Complete overreach.
We will do whatever we want. You know what I like about John Deaton? What I've noticed when he's on these things, he's about a half step away from kicking the living daylights out of somebody. Like he's about level, like just open it up. But he's kind of keeping it. Because the passion is flowing, and he's got so much. He's carrying 68,000 people on it, XRP holders, and 100,000s of behind that. It's just the passion just exudes, comes through his veins. It's amazing, man.
Yeah, and there you go, Ozzy saying, fighting the good fight, Mr. Deaton, and 100%. Think about, again, we talked about this a little bit the other night on Wednesday, just kind of referencing, Deaton coming on the show for the first time when he first, announced the case. But think about how far he's come now. Now he has become a spokesperson in support of the crypto space. It really is. There's some, key players right now that are really rising to the occasion. We're seeing them in Congress, with Emmer and Davidson, amongst others. And then outside, you've got Gasparino, you have Eleanor Terret, and you've got, obviously John Deaton. We've got Jeremy Hogan, is that we see a lot on Twitter, but in the public purview, like getting up on media attention, it's just been outstanding. To see the, how Deaton has really put himself up there. And, he's obviously doing some really amazing things for the crypto space. And if we look back, years from now into the history books, there's going to be sections written, about John Deaton. You remember if you in civics class or, history class, you always had to go back and, learn, what did this person represent? What did they do that was so profound? And John Deaton will be one of those individuals. And it's amazing to see history, kind of in the making, unfolding in front of us.
Oh, agreed. Yeah, agreed. And it just love, and Charles Payne. Charles Payne's been a favorite of mine for the last 20 some years. I just love him. I just love how he was an outcast in school because he used to carry a briefcase back in the day, and the kids made fun of him. But his whole thing was always to go into trading, to business, and that's But he bucked the trend. There's always going to be somebody who is looked at a little bit differently or laughed at, but again, they're on a different purpose. And it's amazing that people don't know Deaton's background, former Marine, federal prosecutor. I mean, this is who we have, and very versed in litigation. But let's listen to the rest of this interview here.
Bottom line is, it sounds like pure intimidation, plain and simple. Let me ask you about your legal battle on behalf of holders of XRP. How's that going?
Well, talk about the Wild Wild West, Charles. I can't talk about the underlying issues, but the SEC has asked the judge to throw me off the case and to revoke amicus status to my clients. They're doing that on the eve of summary judgment motions being filed next month, which is the most important part of the case, as you can imagine. So that's where we're at now.
Last time we spoke, you had like 68,000 in this class action suit. What's the number now?
68,875. Actually 885, and it grows each day, Charles. It's the first time in history that almost 70,000 retail holders of an asset from over 90 countries around the world have come together to fight this government overreach.
John, I got to let you go, but in general, crypto's had a rough patch here recently, but so has every asset out there. I actually have been more impressed with Bitcoin and some of these others now, coming through this, than I was even before this. I mean, is this something we can take positives, we can take away from the way things have been handled?
Absolutely, Charles. It's called growing pains, as you know, but think about Celsius, BlockFi, 3AC, Vald, CoinFlex, all these companies going bankrupt on these high leveraged, strategies they're engaging in. And there were a lot of predictions that Bitcoin would go sub 10,000. It hasn't, doesn't mean it won't, but it's holding up pretty well. I think it's, in the long term, it's great news for the asset class. I
got to tell you, John, good luck to you. I'm not sure what's this all about, trying to kick you off the case. Maybe you should be flattered by it, but a lot of folks look up to you. You've been a warrior, and I hope you can come through for them, because you've done an amazing job from what I could see. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Charles. Appreciate the support.
You got it. All right, folks, coming up, my takeaway.
Man,
so too, hang on a second. I also want to do a big shout out to Alex Coining 203, who pulled this video, posted the entire thing on Twitter for the community. He's been doing that and crushing it lately. He deserves a massive shout out because he puts it all in one piece, not in 17 chunks you have to download. So it's very good, man. Thank you for that.
Chip, you want to talk about Snap a little bit?
What's that?
Did you want to talk about Snap a little bit? That was the last.
Yeah. Well, what I wanted to talk about was when he said, I saw a smile on Payne's face, Charles Payne's face. He goes, growing pains, and I was like, oh, I see what you did there. Yeah. Growing pains. I like that. I like it.
But what a great shout out from Payne to Deaton. At the end there. And
beautiful.
Just wishing him. I mean, that's just that. It shows you, that. The business community and those that are representing, like, Charles Payne and Gasparino and the others within the media and beyond are backing, the retail investors. It's great to see that, whereas you have the SEC, big overreach. And that's why Jeff here from Naples, not too far away from us, says on the chain should have way more subscribers. How does the SEC get to say Coinbase is selling securities? Nothing's been defined yet. SEC, big overstep. And I think that was, exactly, the point here with Payne and with Deaton, the continuation of, the conversation, and what Deaton is really representing for all of us, retail investors out there, is that the SEC has just gone above and beyond, where reality is, and it's just, man, it's crazy. Chip, when we really got into this whole case back in when it was first launched, who knew that it would just keep delivering, over and over and over again. It just seems like what the greatest part about all of this is it's shining this spotlight on the corruption and the corruptive mentality, within some of these government agencies.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, the corruption runs deep, and it was funny. It was really, and maybe people didn't pick up on this, but I wanted to. He basically said, Payne made the comment in the video that about maybe he'll get the Pelosi pass, something along those lines, because this was a question that was recently asked to the Speaker of the House, and it was asked, and also when the interview was over, it was like, hey, by the way, did you give any information based to your husband? Because there's a big thing with Congress, and it's both sides. Okay, it's not just people think like, oh, I'm going after party. No, this is corruption that's broad in Congress. It's the left, it's the right. They're both doing it, but they have access to data that most people don't. They know what's going on with companies that they don't, and they get ready to pass bills that are going to change the direction of that. So that was what that little comment was about. And then Deaton said, well, no, what was his answer? Something to the effect of, well, no, that's, Congress always, they're exempt from insider trading. So something that a normal person would do, it's like, well, if you're Martha Stewart and, $200,000 trade, you're going to jail for a little bit. But if you're in Congress, if you're a Congress, somebody in Congress, House, Senate, whatever, no problem. You just sail right through. So,
and they've passed through the House, which is pretty amazing because they have put some emphasis on insider trading within Congress, and for some of the intent is that they do have, somehow they are excluded from it. I mean, it's really amazing to me. And
Jeff,
it just,
what? It's like rules for thee, not for we. It's like it always comes back to that. It's like, and this is pervasive in every single government in every single country, and nobody's exempt from it. It's like, well, they get a pass on that, but you, the commoner, they can hold, they can hold, and who knows what kind of transparency around digital assets. And that's what this is also exposing on the, and it's not about going after ETH or this and that. The point of it is that why is it so selective? When any government starts picking winners and losers, everyone loses. It should never be picking winners and losers. And when there isn't clear guidelines, you shouldn't be interpreting something that's not there. And we've got some statements coming up. I want to throw this one up on the screen here. This is from Brad Garlinghouse. And this was a statement on, this was from Commissioner Pham. It said, regulatory clarity comes from being out in the open, not in the dark. Unfortunately, the SEC seems more content to operate in the latter. And this is something that Garlinghouse was pointing to here. And this was this is Commissioner Pham right here. This was the SEC. Of course, she's a commissioner with the CFTC, the one regulation body that should be regulating crypto because it is a commodity. It's not a security. And she said this, in the words of Federalist number 49, the people are the only legitimate fountain of power, and it's from them that the constitutional charter is derived. Government is and should be the servant of the people. It should always be fully accountable to them for the actions which it supposedly takes on their behalf. And I love, if you look at the Federalist Papers, it's one of the greatest things prior to the U.S. Constitution. And there's a lot of infighting and drag down fights and, back and forth. But ultimately, it was the Federalist Papers that ultimately led to the creation of the U.S. Constitution. The case the SEC v. Wahi is a striking example of regulation by enforcement. The SEC complaint alleges that dozens of digital assets, including those that could be described as utility tokens and or certain tokens related to decentralized autonomous organizations, better known as DAOs, are securities. So I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but Jeff, your thoughts, on her take on this?
So, it's, we look at this part of it, and I think this notion of, regulation through enforcement, and it seems to be, an ongoing, theme within certain political classes, within Washington, where and you just said it a little while ago, rules for thee, but not for me. And it just seems that this notion of, legislating through enforcement or however they want to do it, they're using the stick, versus really when they shouldn't be, because why? It's because their ideology is contrary to the freedoms. And so if you need to get people to bend to your will, you can only do it through enforcement, and you have to use the stick. You can't have the carrot, which is, hey, let's have some freedom. In the general, societal term, it's like, hey, everybody can live free, everything's great. But if you break the law, then you're gonna, face the consequences. You end up going to jail or whatever. But if they say, well, if you're gonna, be contrary to our opinion, not to the law, but to our opinion, because that's how we're interpreting it at this point in time, based on our emotional, ideological state, then in that case, we're putting you right to jail. And that seems to be this notion of how they want to rule through enforcement. And we're seeing this unfold. And now everybody, I think it's very, very obvious to the majority of the people, not just in the U.S., but on a global scale. I think it's a good thing at the end of the day.
Oh yeah.
Like, hey, you want to keep doing it, keep doing it. You're going to lose more and more people, and it's going to be for a long period of time. So I think we're in a really good spot at this
Agreed.
point.
Well, that's we'll get into the SEC is unfamiliar with the first rule of holes, which we will get into, but I wanted to jump into this. So Ryan Selkis.
Oh, here's a feedback right here before you get into that. That's from WB. I think he really hits a good point here. Said they're behind the curve on cryptocurrencies, so now they're just illogically lashing out. And I would say, I was reading this not just illogically, but ideologically lashing out. They want to use their ideology to lash out, and it doesn't end well for them. Go ahead.
Well, it ends well for us. That's all we really care about. So I wanted to show this right here. So there was a tweet put out by Ryan Selkis, known BTC maxi, known hater of not only Ripple but also XRP. Said a lot of bad things about it over the years. But he put this tweet out here, and thank God somebody screenshotted it, because he also deleted this. I'm sure he got a little bit of pressure from his tribe. But Ryan Selkis put this out. Never thought I'd say this, but here we are. Let's go Ripple. CC at B Garlinghouse. So he tagged Brad Garlinghouse in it, and it's this meme here that you see. So it's two men arm wrestling. On the left-hand side, you've got Selkis. On the right-hand side, you've got Garlinghouse. And what's at stake? The SEC is out of control. So
that's right.
So it's like, they're both, because they've battled over that, but this is something that they can agree on, that the SEC is out of control. He put this up, and he had since deleted it. Now, Jeff, this is another mic drop by Brad Garlinghouse, because I don't know anybody else that could get away with this. Brad Garlinghouse says, me, when I saw this tweet, about Selkis, see you at mainnet. He put the tweet, he put the GIF of himself being shocked when he was, I believe he was talking to Pompliano in a podcast when this happened. But only Brad Garlinghouse could get away with putting up a meme of yourself and have it land beautifully. This is me, that shock where he pulls back with the ooh, that whole thing.
That's great. I like it.
That was him when he saw that tweet, like, what? You can see right here. Oh, it's not deleted. Sorry. Hang on a second. I misspoke, Jeff. You know why I can't see that? You want to know why? Nobody is. If you have XRP anywhere in your feed, some clever BTC maxi put something that you could auto block anybody with XRP anywhere in your feed, and this is why everyone's blocked. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Hey, so Steve Willett says, did someone mention the IMF? DNI just walked into the room. I was thinking IMF, and then it's almost like a bat signal.
Hey.
DNI shows up. What is up, DNI?
It is a bat signal.
Chip, you know what I get out of that first tweet that went out, though? That I didn't realize that Brad Garlinghouse was so jacked. So those two guys arm wrestling.
Oh yeah, he's jacked for sure, man.
Did you see that? Yeah.
He's jacked.
Look at that.
Garlinghouse, man. Look at that. Veins pumping out and stuff, man. And I know that that's not Selkis
good representation. No, that's good representation of what's happening here. You know, we got to fight back against the SEC because they are completely out of control. I mean, it's so devastating. It's
and the best part about it, Jeff, the best part is that what I love about what's happening around the world, because so we've just had, so you just saw you just saw the whole government in Italy fall apart. You've seen other countries with mass resignations. You see it in the UK, right? In Great Britain, I should say, not the UK. So Great Britain. You see this happening. And then the best part of it is they did it to themselves. It's self-inflicted wounds, right? I mean, it's self-inflicted wounds. Look at this right here. Somebody put this meme out. It's Garlinghouse holding someone's eyes open. Look, XRP is the standard. This is a great meme right here. It's like, can you see the standard? Whoever did this.
That's great. Alchemist said that's Brad reacting to Pham saying BTC is not controlled by China.
Well, when it was controlled by China, but the other thing is, I mean, there's so many great reactions that we probably couldn't get to them all in here. You know, then we had Tony from Thinking Crypto. He had his little one in here, so he's got the battling arms, the fire in the background.
There we go.
And then someone just jumps in here and just a random movie quote. So you know, it's something great. And this was something that was another Ryan Selkis tweet. I just read the Ripple complaint 3 times. XRP holders are completely effed. I'd expect sub 10 cents by mid-January. I think the company will get away with the securities element and it will be a battle, but ODL is dead. Well,
who said that?
Ryan Selkis, the same guy who, this is the guy who's a hater. You know, a 2-bit idiot is about spot on. I mean, at least they got that part. When you're at 2-bit idiot, hey, at least you're poking some fun at yourself. I'll give you some street cred for that. But that was what he put out, you know, and there's just a lot of, you know, great little memes, you know, in here. Someone got the popcorn ready. CNBC, it's called XRP because obviously they always call it Ripple. And everyone's just super excited in here.
Oh man, legendary, you know, bursting bubbles over here. Look here, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger on the right and Carl Weathers. It's from The Predator.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that wasn't Garlinghouse? Man.
No. Damn.
This whole time.
Brad. You know, and then this one here. This one's a good one too. Yeah. Spot on. You know, given another Brad meme, giving himself the spot of approval. It's you gotta love that, Jeff. I thought that was just fantastic.
That's awesome. Hey, Chip, let's get into the blog post from the Ripple website, getting into the rise of fintech across the Middle East and North Africa with the MENA region.
This one here.
There you go.
That one you're talking about? Yeah, let's get into that a little bit. There you go.
That one's big right there. You know, there's a lot of things that are happening here. So let's dig into this. You know, so look at. It's interesting too, you know, this opening statement as these MENA countries, you know, it's mostly the Middle East looking to diversify away from fossil fuels, Chip. And, you know, this has been going on from a while because we saw it with Dubai. We know that Saudi Arabia has been diversifying. Once they saw the success over in Dubai, Saudi Arabia has been getting into AI and other things like that. They're trying to attract, you know, big high tech, trying to be cutting edge. And we're seeing a lot of that development and pushing money in a direction that goes away from fossil fuels, because that was limited anyways. You know, you can only develop so much within your country just based on fossil fuels. You have to create some more substance to it, and I think Dubai proved it. But now it's going to go even beyond that, and I think that's what we're going to get into here. So
and I also but I think there's the other motive too is you don't want to have your entire GDP in one bucket. So the diversification it's a financial, you know, it's a logical financial choice. It only makes sense. Nobody, hey, we're known for oil until we're not. And then what? And we scramble. So diversification makes a lot of sense. And of course, they're talking about, so the high rates of mobile phone adoption and easy to use financial applications have enabled individuals in the region to basically send and receive mobile payments, which increases the access to payment rails outside of the traditional financial systems. But embracing central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, could even have a more significant financial inclusion. Designing and introducing blockchain-based CBDC solutions that can integrate with mobile apps can help the region leapfrog into the future of inclusive payment solutions. But we're not that. I guess just like anything, CBDCs sounds like a good idea. I don't really understand. I don't really see the benefit of it, because I think that almost anything real blockchain related, I don't like the programmability and the fact that they could be taken advantage of by a government. We've seen this happen around the world, where it's like, well, wait a minute, we don't like what you're doing. Guess what? You don't have a bank account anymore. Like we don't want to see that type of, I guess, I don't want to say the word, but we don't want to see that overreach happen. And a lot of companies, or countries, I should say, have come in and said, no, there's got to be checks and balances. We absolutely don't want that. But you know how things go, Jeff. They start out one way, and then they kind of like,
you can't leave any wiggle room there. And I agree, and that's been one of the biggest concerns with a CBDC, is that programmable aspect of the money. And so I think there has to be a globally recognized standard within the CBDCs, and if it's built on the XRPL, and there is a third-party mechanism that's developing the platform, and hopefully keeping the back door to the funds closed. So if they want to develop and they want to roll out on the blockchain, however they want to develop the CBDC, as long as it's not constructed like the digital yuan. But then we also see whether it becomes social currency, and socially controllable currency, and that's going to be a net negative. So 100% spot on. I think this is one of the biggest concerns of the global population, is programmable money, and the direction that an overzealous government would go with these funds. So Chip, could you imagine right now, with the direction that we're seeing the US SEC, or even the Fed, through the mindset of what we've seen over the past short, period, could you imagine if there was a US CBDC right now? And some of the things that could potentially happen, and based on the current overreach of this SEC, how they're trying to regulate companies outside of their purview, right? They're talking about environmental, and they're talking about all these things that have nothing to do with the SEC, but now they would have that control and that regulatory responsibility, self-imposed responsibility, let's say. What are your thoughts?
The whole idea behind the CBDC. So I see the reason I can't make sense of it in my head is only because what's the point? Now you can see that Ripple has long been a fan of unbanked, and a lot of other organizations, a lot of digital assets solving that issue. You have a mobile phone, you have a wallet. Guess what? You don't need the bank. But these are central. This is more central control, centralized. It's central. It's when you say CBDC, it's got that C in it. It's centralized. And it's not really blockchain, and it's not really open. So what's the difference? You're not solving that problem of unbanked. You can say, okay, somebody has a phone, but so what? They still need a centralized bank. So how are you solving a problem? Because right now, if you have a banking app on your phone, there's no fiat. Where's the fiat? It's a digital representation of fiat. And if everybody went to the bank today, everybody, period, long lines out there, the banks don't have enough money. It would be a bank run. They wouldn't be able to pay out. We saw this happening in China. So what's the point? So you're just talking about shifting some logic over and saying, oh, let's go to a digital currency. Well, it's pretty much all digital anyway. Unless you pull out your wallet and you got some fiat currency in there, Jeff, what's the difference?
Yeah, and so here's the question. It's like, so Ireland's AIB drops plans to make many branches cashless. So they're dropping the plans, but what does that even mean? Like, how do you make a bank branch cashless? Does that mean that the bank itself, if it's not going to carry cash, they won't have an ATM, they won't help, manage, but they've shelved their plans, which is good. But look at this. They were going to drop cash services in 70 of its 170 branches after major political backlash against the decision over its likely impact on small business and rural communities. Now, it's interesting to see the pushback. Thank God people are rising up and saying, hey, you know what, we don't like the direction that you're bringing our country. And it's really refreshing to see. And what we're seeing on a global scale is people fighting for their freedoms. and fighting back against a corrupted government on a global scale. So, and it's what I find interesting, and thank you, Darcy, for bringing that to our attention with AIB to bring that up. But we saw the same thing happen over in India, where they started removing certain currencies from circulation, and their objective in India was to push everybody to a digital digital representation of their money. And I think, if we look back to then, how they're all saying, oh, we're just investigating CBDCs. We don't know, blah, blah, blah. There's no way that their central banks didn't know that they have a plan. They have their 5, 10, 15, 25-year plans. There's no way that they didn't have the plan already to remove cash from circulation years ago. It's not that it's just all of a sudden happening as we're seeing it when, if Ireland is talking about it, banks over there, if we see it over in India, and it does have a direct impact on the rural communities and, many of those small businesses that live on cash that, they're not in the digital age. And so those are the people they're going to impact.
Well, Jeff, bringing back to your reference, when India, flushed those banknotes out, the real reason behind it was because they were circumventing taxes. They were not paying the taxes with them because you could put the fiat back and forth and totally avoid reporting. And when they said you had a month left to redeem those, all of a sudden came out from under the mattresses and the safes and wherever they were hiding, and they put them in there. And that was a way to, flush that money out and really start accounting for it. I think that was the main. It was the government saying, "Hey, we're not getting enough taxes here. Apparently, there seems to be a lot in circulation." And so what did that do? Well, that just created more black markets where people would just barter and trade with other things, and that's kind of what people do. It's called ingenuity. And if you put up a fence or a wall, people figure out a way to go under it, over it, through it, around it. And that's what people do. So they try to kill one problem and then they basically create another potential issue. And that's kind of what always happens.
But it's interesting though, Chip. I mean, think about when was the last time you used cash? It's like I've kind of forced myself a little bit. Yeah, and I'll force myself to try to use cash. And when I was traveling,
so weird.
It's like you go into a gas station, let's say, and you want to go buy, I don't know, a bottle of water and some chips or something, right? And you go in there and it's like $4.45, right? And you look in your wallet and you're like, I've got $5. I can give them my $5 cash. I'll just whip out my credit card and stick it in the machine. Exactly. So here we go traveling. I was like, cash, should I use the cash that's in my wallet? Or I'm just going to put because then they hand you the cash. I'm like, how many hands have touched this money? Right. It's like, do I really want to touch? We were traveling and we stop at a rest stop and we go over to the machine. I asked my son, I said, you want anything out of here? He goes, yeah, I want to get some chips or whatever it was. And we put the money in, he pushes the thing and the change falls into the little change thing. And then I stop. I'm like, I don't want to put my fingers in there. How many people have stuck there? And I put my fingers in. It was like,
Jeff,
it felt like slimy. The money felt slimy. And before, like, I don't know. I never thought about that before, right? It's like you grab the money and off you go, right?
Banknotes have a weird smell too. If you get close enough, you're like, it always has that weird sort of odor to it. It is very odd indeed. But yeah, but the thing about it is you're like, what do you do with the coins? They end up in your center console of your car, clicking around, and you got those little holders in there. The older cars do, the new ones don't. But you just throw them in there. You're like, and then if you need the whole idea of it's pathetic. You don't even want to do it. But Jeff, when I have a machine, when I used to go into an office and I really wanted those chips at like that 3 o'clock crash, I'd go to the machine. Of course, it had Apple Pay and Google Pay, so it's just like bloop, bloop, and it would just, and you didn't even need change anymore, which increased the adoption of people getting it because everyone's like, because it used to be you had change and you could put a bill in there, but it wouldn't always return your change, and something you would use $1, then you could use $5. So what's up, JB?
The odor of Gary G and Brad Sherman. The Sherman.
Yeah, if you guys should follow JV, man, he is all over this case, man. I'm telling you right now, he's all over it. He puts out great stuff. Look at Lee Howard said, Chip and Jeff, if XRP hits 10 cents, I won't have any kidneys left. That is awesome, man. I love that. It's Yeah, so I listen, and what I like about this is if there's going to be adoption, listen, Ripple's at the forefront of it. You also see that Stellar Foundation with the Stellar Lumens, they're all over the CBDC craze. Look, if the governments are going to institute it, you want to be able to have the opportunity. It's just that my concern is that what it ends up being, Jeff.
That's right. I like this. Funny. For me, in those types of transactions, paying in cash and getting change feels like what physical slippage would be. I lose the change immediately.
That's exactly right.
You know, when you travel over in Europe, you get the euros and you got the little €1 and €5 coins, and all of a sudden you're sitting in euros. You know, it's crazy. Same thing over in Canada. You have the loonie and the toonie, right? And all of a sudden you have all these dollars rolling around in a bag.
Well, the best thing is like you're in Great Britain, you have the pound, right? Yeah, you get you get a couple quid, you know, coins.
It's heavy.
And it's heavy, man. And that clinky noise it makes, like I would sit there and just amuse myself all day long. Clink, 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 clink. I love it. Like that's the stuff that I love because our money, our coins over here sound tinty, like ting, ting, ting. And those are like, boom, it's like a thud. It's like a
You put it into a bag and it becomes a defensive weapon.
Fantastic. Let's get through some Jimmy Filan tweets right here. Jimmy Filan put this one out. Ripple v. XRP. The Ripple defendants proposed narrowly tailored redactions to a limited number of exhibits attached to the motions to exclude the expert testimony, the Daubert motions that were filed on July 12th by the defendants and the SEC. Put this one out too. Ripple, the SEC filed a motion to seal in connection with the motions to exclude expert testimony, the Daubert motions filed. And then we've got this one.
What is wrong with him, man?
So Michael Branch put this one out. He says, as the case against Ripple rages on, the SEC wants to see certain friends of the court in support of Ripple be barred from providing legal aid to the defense. And this was an article penned by Cointelegraph, and the heading was SEC objects to XRP holders aiding Ripple defense, moves to prohibit lawyer, right?
Yeah.
And of course, so John Deaton said,
they kind of got things, yeah.
John Deaton says, the Cointelegraph needs to learn how to report. The judge already reviewed the nonsense the SEC lawyers alleged against me, and in all caps, she granted my motion, despite them claiming I threatened Clayton. I doubt a judge would do that if the SEC claims had any merit. So
man, the SEC is in such an overreach right now, Chip, and it's pathetic that Cointelegraph got that wrong in their reporting. They should have reached out to Deaton potentially, you know, and got some commentary before they wrote it. It's a little bit disheartening to see Cointelegraph in the space, in the crypto space, you know, just kind of reporting nonsense, you know, when they in such a critical case and such a critical moment, they really should have stepped up their game.
Yeah, but I just love that they're swirling the drain. Like they just keep going after the old playbooks. That didn't work the first time. Let's try it the second and third time. And if it doesn't work the third time, what are you doing? You are angering. Listen, you don't want to poke the bear. And all they're doing is poking the bear left and right. It's not good for them. And everybody knows, you know, if the judge makes a ruling and then you kind of constantly counter that, sorry, man, at some point, you get the beatdown like in the last decision where they said they're more interested in the winning than being their faithful allegiance to the actual law. JV puts this out. Do you think the WEF and the government are on the same team? Lockstep, man. Lockstep.
At this point, they are, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Jim D, rest assured that Ripple has had copies of Hinman docs from their own ex-SEC board and employees. They just need to get legal authority to show it in court, you know, and it's like, come on, you know, the SEC, they brought this case, Chip. Huh?
Put that back up, please.
Back it up.
Back it up, yeah. So you see that little, I just want to make a little statement. So you see that Jim D's got that little symbol in his next to thing. That means that he is a supporter of the channel. You guys can join the channel if you want. It does help out the channel. You don't have to because the content is available and free. But if you want to and you dig the content and you say, because the people in the chat, I saw a couple of people, they always say like, hey, these guys should have more subs than they do. Well, that's something that sort of helps that. We should have more subs, but we're happy with what we have because thanks to you guys and thanks to all the new people, we just passed 25,000 subs and it's all because of you. So thank you guys very much.
25,000 is a big number. Yeah.
Did I say 25 subs? 25,000.
No, you said 25,000.
Okay, 25K.
I'm just saying it's a big number, 25,000.
It's a big number, and we're happy about it.
We're very happy.
I'm sorry, dude. Sorry about
Steven
that.
tuning in from South Africa.
Go ahead and throw that back up.
Great to watch you live for a change. How awesome is that? Man,
yeah, beautiful.
Tuning in from all over the world. All over.
That's what I love about this. And you know what's great about it is you want to talk about locksteps. You WEF and government's lockstep. Who's lockstep? It doesn't matter what project you're into. That's why you want to be an open maxi. You want to be a crypto maxi where you just embrace crypto. You don't have to like everything. You don't even have to like two of them. You can just like one, but you don't have to be shunning everything else. I mean, that's kind of the position that we take here. So there you go.
Aussie's petitioning that we have 1 million subs. There we go.
All right, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Congrats, DNI, on the 25,000 subs. Thank you, DNI. I really appreciate that. But again, it's because of you guys. I mean, that's really it. Because you guys like stuff, and the people in the like, and the support we feel is just phenomenal. We see people unprovoked just say, "Hey, go ahead and click the like. Go ahead and sub. Go ahead and do this." And that helps because it tells people that watch other related XRP Ripple content, and it starts suggesting it to us. We had a lot of new people come in, Jeff, and people are like, "How did I not know about this show? How did I not know about it?" Well, because look, man, I mean, how would you know it unless somebody was doing the likes and sharing it?
Yeah, we got Bo Jackson from Romania. Check AB over here says lots of CEOs are resigning. Something's coming. Something big is coming. Man, we got another. Look at that. SAP, another South African in the house. Look at that, man.
How about this utility maxi? I like that even better, Lee. Lee says utility maxi. Yeah, you could be a utility maxi. Just be in support of those projects which have that utility. You got to love that, Jeff. I mean, at some point, I mean, the utility max is a good thing. I want to be.
What else we got, I like that. What else you got?
Yeah, I'm looking for something, Jeff.
What's like the best thing you got there? You're flashing through a whole bunch of stuff.
I am flashing through stuff.
Roll it through and we'll grab one. Boom, right there. What is that?
That one right there. Sorry, I didn't realize I was still sharing the screen. I was like flipping through stuff on the screen. I sometimes forget that I had turned it off. Anyway, nah, man, I don't have that up there. I'm not that ridiculously. So this right here, yeah, I wanted to put this one up here, but you see how the show goes. You see all the tabs are open. CZ from Binance said the 2000.com bubble burst didn't kill the internet. On the contrary, it gave the surviving companies a huge advantage. Think about that statement. It's really solid,
I think that's huge. I think it is. And it reminds me of pets.com because they didn't survive. But the ones that did, it changed the outcome, really pushed everything in a positive direction. And I think what he's alluding to here, Chip, let me know if I'm wrong on this. It's that those that survived were those that had actual solutions to problems, and they were solving something and they were providing something of value. And those that just kind of put a .com after their name, just like now, if you just, I'm blockchain crypto. Okay, but what do you do?
Right. So pets.com was just too early because Chewy.com is crushing it right now. They're absolutely just crushing it. Another statement by CZ2, he said the fundamentals haven't changed. Utility growing, fundraise, invest, transfer, micropayment, remittance, DeFi, NFT, metaverse. There are a few mismanaged failed projects and a few sellers. Still, net more users / institutions coming in. Build. So there's another great statement by CZ.
I like that. Yeah,
really
two big ones.
Very, very positive. And so one of the things that I wanted to say too, Jeff, is that, as I was flipping through all those stories, one of the things I want everybody to realize here is that Jeff and I always have more research than we can actually get to, which brings up my next point that after every show concludes, if you are on this mailing list, you basically go to onthechain.io. Jeff, you could drop it in the chat. I'll drop it in right here. Hang on. We could drop it in the chat right there. If you guys go there, because we don't really send out that many, but if you go here, you can see what other recent shows were. You can also right here, you scroll right down to the bottom, join the OTC family. We don't sell it. We don't do anything like that. You put your address in there, put your full name, join the family. And also you can see some of our past interviews up here. All of the interviews we've done. You can see all the podcast stuff over here. You can read up about Jeff and I over here, a little bit of our backgrounds. If you guys want to reach out to us, click on the contact. You got our Twitters. You got a lot of people send us messages through here. We get them. We read them all. So if you saw an interesting piece of news and say, hey guys, this isn't getting much coverage, you can go through there and click on that as well. And I just wanted to say that also, you could also, and the funny thing is we don't even have that on here, but if you go to onthechain.shop, you can get some cool merch up there too. We got some cool merch.
Really cool
up there. Nice. So there's some of our products, and especially this one right here, Ripple Strikes Back. The SEC Wars Ripple Strikes Back shirt, still one of our most popular sellers right there, but cool anything you can imagine. So anyway, so there it is. There's a little, there's the little
on the chain.
There's the commercial, Jeff. There it is right there.
We got New Zealand here. We got Brazil, Bom Dia from João Bota over in Brazil. And then I like this one from Abby also. CZ Gary is coming for you. And I was looking at that. Chip, I sent you that that ad yesterday from Binance US. You can earn 18% on your crypto, right? If you're staking your crypto, get your 18%. And they've been attacking Celsius for exactly that. They said, how can they pay out,
Jeff.
18%? And here's Binance US, and there's reasoning behind why they can pay out high percentages on certain assets if they're doing short-term bridge loans to big institutions, and those short-term loans can the interest on that could be up to 24% APY on some of those short-term bridge loans, which comes out to about, if it, let's say 20%, it's like 1.6% per month. That they end up paying out, in interest. So sometimes you do a short-term loan and they're willing to pay 1-2% on the money, especially if they're using it to generate revenue. But that's how, the banks do it on those short-term bridge loans. And it's interesting stuff.
Yeah, right on, Jeff. We got 222 in here watching right now, guys. Don't go ahead and hit that like button. But guys, speaking of New Zealand, you just mentioned somebody in here from New Zealand. Speaking of New Zealand, we have one of New Zealand's one of the probably well-known entrepreneurs, founders in New Zealand. This is none other than Aaron McDonald. We have Aaron McDonald live tomorrow night, 8 p.m. On the chain. He will be here with us. We're going to talk about the Fluf World partnership. We're going to talk about a little about his background, some of his other organizations and companies he's founded. I've thrown that in the chat. What I'd like you to do is just go ahead and pause the video if you will. And then click on that link, go over here. And if you guys see on screen right here, I'm going to go ahead and make that a little bigger. In the bottom left-hand corner, it says live in 34 hours.
Holy cow.
You click this notify me, your notification's on. So you're guaranteed to get a notification. Well, supposedly, but anyway.
Guaranteed. Yeah. Nothing's guaranteed.
So this is Fluf World 2, and we've covered Fluf World 2. It's very, very cool. And you've got these 3D rid characters that are metaverse ready. They've got some utility to them as well, so it's very, very cool. Ripple and furries.
Yeah, furry.
Yeah,
this is the metaverse world representation. It's going to be it'll be interesting. You want to see people building in the space. We like doing these interviews. Sometimes they don't attract the same, the size of the audience, but it's all about understanding. People are building, and partnering with Ripple or building on the XRPL or building in the space in general. And I think that is, really important. That we see some of these people, what they're doing, what their objectives are, how they see things from the inside as a developer in the space, really to get a good understanding of where we're going, which is just outstanding. How come cryptocurrency can't be allowed to pay 20%, but credit cards can charge more than that? Credit cards can charge you up to 28%. I thought there was laws passed and they weren't allowed to do that, but maybe it was over 30%.
Jeff.
Right?
And they do.
30% the threshold?
Yeah, you missed your payment. I think it's 20-some%. I know that, but you miss a payment or something, and then they increase it. Look at this right here. So Jeremy Hogan was commenting on this one here, which I meant to play earlier, but the SEC's requested permission to file a 30-page opening brief and a 10-page reply brief in support of the SEC's objections to Magistrate Judge Netburn's ruling ordering the SEC to disclose the him and speech documents. Ripple objected. And I love this because Jeremy Hogan said, the SEC is actually going to object to Judge Netburn's scathing order regarding attorney-client privilege and asked Judge Torres to overturn the order. This is the order in which Judge Netburn called the SEC's argument hypocritical. Someone needs to talk them off the ledge. I disagree, Jeremy. People have to keep them on the ledge because they're falling over themselves nonstop, and we want more of this. We don't want less of this because they are crushing themselves. I mean, absolutely crushing themselves.
They really are. It's interesting, Chip. You have multiple attorneys that we're seeing represented here. Well, we got James, Jeremy, and John Deaton, and all with the same perspective on the SEC's overreach, on how they're portraying their case. And so it's amazing, to see this commentary. I would like to see if there's an attorney out there that's in the Twitter space, in the crypto space, that would be defending the SEC's actions. And that would be, put some, balance to it. I doubt we'll find an attorney that can defend the SEC's actions. And if they are defending them, they're doing it from an ideological perspective, right? Exactly. They work for them. I mean, it's unreal. It's like, how?
So, Jeff, that brings me back. And every once in a while, I remind people the first rule of holes, because I have to be reminded. I was reminding the SEC. So based on what Jeremy Hogan said, I said, the SEC doesn't know the first rule of holes. When you're in one, stop digging. They just keep digging a bigger hole, Jeff. A nonstop bigger hole to,
I think we should buy them a bigger shovel.
Well, this is what's great. So Boots said if you're digging out upwards, it's still classed as a hole. Would it be classed as digging yourself out of a hole? The Digital Dodo says, we've learned one thing from this lawsuit. SEC are not flat earthers. They're working on the theory that on a sphere, if you keep digging, you come out the other side, meaning that they keep digging. They're not stopping that whole thing. And then we had,
oh yeah, you remember as kids, if you were digging a hole in the backyard, your parents would say,
then XRP. Yeah, exactly. Remember that? Then it's like lunchtime. Okay, let's abandon that. Instead of the SEC protecting the people the right way, they sacrifice their integrity to protect their own and gain power to control innovation. SEC is trying to hide transparency itself, but they can't, because transparency means truth. SEC's 3 principles are hide, lie, and deny. It sounds like XRP Kicks nailed that one. And then John Doe, who's also been an OG, big supporter of the show, he says, I have some extra shovels in the garage. Like, let's help them. It's like when somebody's incriminating themselves, there's the Sun Tzu, it says, never interrupt your enemy when they're in the process of destroying themselves, right? So you just like, hey, and John Doe is right. He's like, hey, I got more shovels. Guys, let's help them out. Here's some more shovels. Keep digging. And I thought that was extremely funny there. And
here's a real quick comment from Jim D. They used to have usury laws on credit cards until the bankers lobbied Congress to pillage the peasants in a mountain of enslaving debt. And there you go.
And this one here by Eleanor Terret, who is she's been a great advocate and reporter and really strong on the digital asset side over at Fox Business, working hand in hand with Charlie Gasparino. She put this up, Scoop. The banking GOP today, which is the Senate banking division by the party, GOP party, today sent a letter to Gary Gensler criticizing him for refusing to answer questions and provide records relating to the SEC climate disclosure proposal, calling his response to their inquiry wholly inadequate and unacceptable. Correct. Gensler's this is in June, Jeff. His response in June letter sent was requesting answers relating to costs associated with the proposal, the long-term effect on energy prices, and the potential violation of the First Amendment rights. Nothing, just silence. Nothing, not a response like, hey, I'll get that to you. Nothing, just like, nope, I'm sorry. I'm the SEC. I don't have to deal with you peasants, Congress, and oversight. What are we talking about? But just like Tom Emmer, and I want that to be the ringtone on my phone, there's a new day coming, sir. Sir, there's a new day coming. The new day is coming. It's coming in November, and these hearings are going to be they're going to have a very different tone. And let's see what happens when Chair Gensler is dragged in front of Congress and has to answer real questions and produce real documents, not when the party who appointed is protecting. So we'll see what happens there. And Jeff, another mic drop moment right here. Santiago Velez, who is just a warrior with words and an amazing XRP member. You got to love this. So Jake Chervinsky, who put out a tweet thread, not a bad tweet thread, I may add. I'm not putting the tweet thread down. He's an attorney. He's also the head of policy over at Blockchain Association. And he put this is the first part of the tweet. He said, the SEC filed a complaint yesterday accusing 10 companies of violating the securities laws, 9 digital assets issuers, and 1 exchange. None of them are defendants in the case. None of them will get their day in court. If this isn't regulation by enforcement, nothing is. Want to see the mic drop moment? Santiago Velez chimes in and says, one would almost recommend the formation of an association to identify these overreaches, coordinate industry counter reaction, and then seek regulatory level playing field wherein assets are properly classified and overseen. Maybe with Ripple, Library.com case defendants. Just a thought. So he's basically hammering him. Like, they're all upset about digital assets no one's ever heard of, but they're not. They could have cared less to say one thing about that.
It's
right?
really, I don't get it. I really don't understand.
Well, I don't get Ron Hammond, who was really one of the main chief writers behind the token taxonomy, with Warren Davidson. We worked for Warren Davidson. Completely scrubbed Ripple off of his bio for the Blockchain Association, as did some other ex-Ripplers. They glossed right over it. There's no mention of Ripple whatsoever. And if you think the latest one, who was an advisor to Ripple, who ends up going to work for the what do they call it, the Fox Watch and the Hen House, overseeing the Federal Reserve. Somebody said in the chat earlier, I wanted to put it up there, but the Fed has to be abolished, and it will be. My thought is that, well, I don't want to get too into this, but the previous person in the White House had a very significant portrait hanging of a significant person who abolished the federal. The second one. This is the third time. It's been over 100 years, and it's time to audit the Fed.
That's right. That's right. And here Lee is saying that he sees that the SEC is hiring in Miami, and maybe that's because he points out Miami's become a crypto hub for the U.S. and the SEC is on the attack. That's an interesting point, a counterbalance to what's going on in the crypto space. The SEC is currently representing, the old time, hold on monetary gain. We're kind of see some new things happening.
Look at this. One last one from Brian Quintez, who's the former CFTC commissioner. And he said, regulation by enforcement, threats, leverage, PR, or any other means beyond the APA rulemaking process, wholly inappropriate. So it's good to see some officials speaking out. Brian Quintez has been just a warrior. That's the guy you would want in charge of the SEC. That's the guy that should have been in charge of the SEC. But a new day's coming. A lot of stuff's going to happen.
That's right. And we're gonna catch it all right here. We're gonna discuss it. We're gonna dissect it and provide commentary of it. And it's man, things are looking up. I'm excited to see the direction 2022 is going to end on a positive note, and I believe that it's just setting the stage for an amazing 2023, which is outstanding. So looking forward to that. And Chip, you brought up that you should like and subscribe to On the Chain if you're brand new here, but more importantly is, come and check us out tomorrow night, Sunday, 8 p.m. We've got a great interview on tomorrow, and then we have another great interview coming up on Wednesday as well, if I'm not mistaken. That's Wednesday.
Yeah, we do have a great interview coming up on Wednesday, an ex-Rippler. We'll tell you more about that. But guys, join us tomorrow night for what's bound to be a fantastic interview. Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate your support. We appreciate where is that thing here? Where is it? That's it right there. Yeah, thanks for your support. We do really appreciate it. And you guys leave comments. Tell us just because you're watching on the replay. Tell us where you're coming in from. We'd like to hear that as well. We read all comments, and a lot of them make us laugh, and a lot of them are criticisms, and sometimes they'll say things about you and I, and they're always like funny little things too, but it's always good to see that. So anyway, love you guys. We will see you soon. As a matter of fact, in a few hours. Well, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Chip and Jeff. And see you guys.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.